Hi, this is Len Furman, the sports time traveler, with an article titled The Baseball Triple Double. Subtitle: The 1924 Dodgers have suddenly inserted themselves into the National League pennant race. Boston, September 4th, 1924. The sports time traveler has been following the American League pennant race in 1924 all season. It's a thrilling battle between the defending world champion New York Yankees, led by Babe Ruth, and the never before contending Washington Senators, led by Walter, the Big Train Johnson. Up to this point, I've been ignoring the National League pennant race because the New York Giants, winners of three straight pennants, have been dominating the senior circuit. Just 1 week ago, the Giants appeared to be in command of the National League. Here were the standings of the top teams on the morning of August 29th, 1924. New York Giants, first place, with a record of 75 and 46. The Pittsburgh Pirates, second place, with a record of 70 and 51, 5 games back. And the Brooklyn Dodgers, with a record of 69 and 54, 7 games back. 7 games behind the Giants were the Brooklyn Dodgers. And the Dodgers, even though they had won their last two and 13 of 17, seemed to be non contenders. Just 3 weeks earlier, the Dodgers had been a full 13 games behind the Giants. On August 29th, the Brooklyn Dodgers opened a 3 game set against the Giants at home at Ebbets Field. In the first game, 22,000 fans watched Dodgers Dazzy Vance improve his record to 23 and 4 by holding the Giants to a single run. The Dodgers scored 3 in the 8th to come from behind and win the game 3-1. The next day, the Dodgers were down 3-1 in the 7th when they scored 5 runs in the 8th and went on to beat the Giants 8-5 to capture the second game of the series. And then on August 30th, the Dodgers got out in front 3-0 and held on for a 3-2 win. The Dodgers had swept the defending National League champs and extended their winning streak to 5. What's more, they were now just 4 games back after having been down 13 games just 3 weeks earlier. Next up for the Dodgers was an easier opponent, but a much tougher task. The Dodgers had to travel to Philadelphia. The Phillies were only in 7th place with a record of just 49 and 75, but the schedule called for 3 consecutive doubleheaders. The first doubleheader took place on September 1st in the old Baker Bowl. 25,000 fans came out on Labor Day to witness this first of 3 consecutive doubleheaders. The Dodgers took the first game easily 7-3. The second game was a close battle through 8 innings, with the Dodgers clinging to a 4-3 lead. Then, in the top of the ninth, the Dodgers star slugger Zach Wheat, batting .374 on the year, came up with a runner on base. And here's how the Philadelphia Inquirer described the action. The valedictory affair was either team's game until the 8th, when Zach Wheat put the verdict on ice for Uncle Robbie's clan with a 4-base smash into Broad Street with Mitchell on base. Wheat had hit the ball clear out of Baker Bowl for his 9th homer of the year, and it sealed a 6-3 Dodgers victory. Back again the next day for the second doubleheader, the Dodgers seemed assured of another win with their ace, Dazzy Vance, back on the mound. Vance had won 11 straight games, but Dazzy must have been dazed by what happened. He was battered for 5 hits and 4 runs and was knocked out of the game in the first inning. The Dodgers fell behind 7-1 after 2 innings, but they battled back and tied it at 9, and the game went into extra innings. In the top of the 10th, the Dodgers scored 3 times and won the game 12-9. In the second game, Zach Wheat's 10th home run of the year put the Dodgers in front in the top of the 5th, and when the game was called due to rain, the Dodgers had the win by a score of 4-3. Yesterday, September 3rd, the two teams were back yet again for another doubleheader, the third in 3 days. In the first game, the Phillies went ahead 6-4 after 6 innings, but the Dodgers clawed back, tying the game in the eighth when the Phillies pitcher Jimmy Ring walked in a run. It was his 11th walk issued in the game. Then in the ninth, Andy High's double for the Dodgers provided the go ahead run, and Brooklyn escaped with a 7-6 win. Going the distance for the Dodgers was starting pitcher Burley Grimes, who won his 20th of the season. The second game was a rout. The Dodgers went up 5-0 after 2 innings, and Dodgers starter Bill Doak threw a 2-hit shutout to win his 10th game of the season, the Dodgers winning it by a final score of 7-0. With the wins yesterday, the Dodgers had pulled off a truly rare feat, a triple double. The Dodgers had won 3 consecutive doubleheaders in 3 straight days. Note from the Sports Time Traveler, I do not know if this triple double has ever been done before or since. Here's how it was written up in today's New York Daily News on September 4th, 1924. The Brooklyn Robins made a clean sweep of 3 doubleheaders with the Phillies in 3 days when Grimes won the first game today 7-6 and Bill Doak shut out the Phillies in the second game 7-0, allowing only 2 hits. Another doubleheader. Believe it or not, the Dodgers had to take the train last night from Philadelphia to Boston, where today they play yet one more doubleheader against the last place Braves. And the Sports Time Traveler has traveled virtually to Boston in 1924 to see if they can do it. Dodgers star Zach Wheat, who had 7 RBIs in the doubleheader yesterday, had this to say in one of the Brooklyn newspapers about this incredible stretch of games, 11 being played in 6 days. The Buccarino said, if we can get through this week with the pitching staff in any sort of shape, then we'll be able to make them all moan. This is the toughest spot we've had this year, the toughest I think I've had since I've been in the league. 11 games in 6 days is a strain on anybody, particularly a club like ours, which is composed more or less of veterans. Going into today's contests, the Dodgers, thanks to 11 straight wins and 25 of their past 30, are now just 1.5 games behind the Giants in the National League pennant race with 22 games to go. Here's the standings of the top teams in both leagues as of this morning, September 4, 1924. In the American League, the Washington Senators in first with a record of 76-55. The New York Yankees a half game back with a record of 75-56. And in third place, the Detroit Tigers, led by Ty Cobb, with a record of 71-62. In the National League, the New York Giants are still in front with a record of 78-51. Just one game back are the Pittsburgh Pirates at 76-51. And the Brooklyn Dodgers are only 1.5 games behind the Giants with a record of 78-54. The Sports Time Traveler will continue following both the 1924 American League and National League pennant races. Thanks for listening.